Well, hello. My name is Don Samuels, and I'm the chairman of the Colorado Judicial Institute's Board of Directors, and I'm a shareholder at Polsinelli. It's my pleasure this evening to welcome you to our 20th anniversary Judicial Awards dinner. This evening, go ahead. And I don't know if they're a little better lights because I'm having difficulty seeing my notes. This evening, we are celebrating 4 outstanding jurists. But first, I'd like to take a few moments to reflect on where we are and what we're doing. Today is a propitious time to host the Judicial Excellence Awards. A week from today, as everyone knows, we hold our elections for the 2 other branches of government. As Alexander Hamilton once said, there is no liberty if the power of judging be not separated from the legislative and executive powers. Recently, Paul Waldman observed in an opinion piece in the Washington Post, and I quote, "The judiciary will likely be the last bastion protecting our democracy." Today we take time to honor the 3rd branch of government, the judiciary. Unlike their colleagues in the executive and legislative branches, they are not elected, which is one of the reasons this organization was created. There are no television commercials. There are no sound bites. There are no debates. There is no solicitation of funds. Instead, the work of our judiciary is done every day in courtrooms that are open to the public, and their work is reflected in written opinions which are subject to appeal. Rather than television commercials with bucolic landscapes and family photos, there are opinions written in black ink and based on logic and precedent. Rather than sound bites, there is reasoned analysis. Rather than solicitation of funds, there is a nonpartisan review that evaluates, among other things, integrity, legal knowledge, judicial temperament, and public feedback. Our judiciary plays a fundamental role in our democracy and the preservation of the rule of law. Its role is discussed at length by Alexander Hamilton in Federalist number 78, and the concept of judicial review has been entrenched in our system since 1803 with the Supreme Court's decision in Marbury versus Madison. In these days, when our system of government is being questioned and the rule of law is being threatened, I thought it would be helpful, interesting, to review with you some words from the Attorney General Merrick Garland recently spoke to some new citizens that he was swearing in. He wrote, and I quote, "The protection of law, the rule of law, is a foundation of our system of government. The rule of law means the same laws apply to all of us, regardless of whether we are the country's newest citizens or whether our families have been here for generations. The rule of law means that the law treats each of us alike. There is not one rule for friends and another for foes. One rule for the powerful, another for the powerless. A rule for the rich, another for the poor. Or different rules depending on one's race or ethnicity or country of origin. The rule of law means that we are all protected in the exercise of our civil rights, in our freedom to worship and think as we please, and the peaceful expression of our opinions, our beliefs, and our ideas. The rule of law is not assured. It is fragile. It demands constant effort and vigilance. The responsibility to ensure the rule of law is and has been the duty of every generation in our country's history. It is now your duty as well, and it is one that is especially urgent today at a time of intense polarization in America. Now I turn to our organization, the Colorado Judicial Institute. One of the many missions of CJI is to safeguard the rule of law and to support the judiciary, which plays an indispensable role in preserving the rule of law. I'd now like to take just a few minutes to tell you who we are, why we do what we do, and exactly what we do. I'll start with who we are. CJI was founded in 1979 as a mission to protect and preserve the impartial system by which in Colorado we select our judges. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan, and underfunded, more on that probably later, group that supports our state's efforts to keep politics out of the courtroom. Since our founding, CJI's focus has expanded to expand and protect and support the role of the judiciary in a democratic system and to educate citizens about the importance of the rule of law. We endeavor to foster judicial excellence through judicial education and develop public understanding of the judicial system through public education and to foster understanding and trust in our judicial system. CJI participates in the Diversity on the Bench initiative that helps ensure our courts reflect the diversity of the communities they serve, and we promote public education through the Our Courts program, which provides seminars to the public about the judicial system, merit selection, and the rule of law. In direct response to the decline in civics education, this year we introduced a new presentation through our Courts program entitled Checks and Balances: How Our Government Works for the People. Now, why we are here. The reasons why we exist is, as our t-shirts say, and I don't think we have any t-shirts here tonight, got all dressed up, keeping politics out of the courtroom since 1979. 5 basic reasons why we're here. There is ignorance about our system of government. In a recent study from the Annenberg Public Policy Center, it was reported that only 47% of Americans could name all three branches of the federal government. The percentage of individuals who could name any of the rights embodied in the First Amendment was merely 37%. Less than half of Americans in 2022 knew that the Supreme Court has the final responsibility to determine whether an act by the President or the Congress is constitutional. This lack of knowledge is directly tied to a decline in civics education in the schools. There are, unfortunately, attacks on our judiciary from the press and in the streets. In connection with the judicial retention component of the upcoming election, this, if it's up, is a yard sign that appears throughout Douglas and Arapahoe County. And I assume you can all see it, but what it says is, "Vote judges out. They destroy families." That's the message that's being propagated in connection with the judicial retention election next week. One of the many problems with these attacks is that the judiciary is bound by a code of judicial conduct, which, among other things, prohibits the judiciary from, and I quote, "engaging in political or campaign activity that is inconsistent with the independence, integrity, or impartiality of the judiciary." In other words, they get attacked and they have one or both hands tied behind their backs. They are duty-bound and ethically prohibited from responding. Third reason, money. The amount of money needed for judicial education has increased for a multitude of reasons, but the ability of the legislature to meet that need has not kept up. The laws continue to change, and we continue to appoint new judges who need to be educated on different areas of the law with which they may not have background experience. There's a lack of responsiveness and appreciation for our judiciary. There are no Election Day celebrations or inaugural balls to celebrate our judiciary. And finally, there's a lack of diversity. Currently, the Hispanic population in Colorado is 23%, and there are 8% of our judiciary who are Hispanic. There are no black judges on the Court of Appeals and no black justices. So now, what we do to address these 5 points. To control ignorance about our system of government, CJI, in collaboration with the Colorado Bar Association, created the Our Courts program, which teaches civics to adults and high school audiences. To date, it has given more than 600 presentations to over 20,000 participants. To address attacks on the judiciary, CJI has testified before legislative committees, most recently the Legislative Interim Committee on Judicial Discipline, and has written op-ed pieces to set the record straight and to speak on behalf of the judicial branch, which is otherwise silenced by its adherence to the Judicial Code of Conduct. You have examples in your materials of an op-ed piece that was actually published yesterday that provides a response to a piece that appeared last week and discusses some of the things I'm talking about how we select and review our judiciary. To promote judicial education, CJI provides financial scholarships to judges in their continuing education to supplement the monies they receive from the state. To provide a forum to recognize judicial excellence, we have, as you figured out, for the last 20 years held this event to honor those in our judiciary who have performed outstandingly. To ensure diversity in our courtrooms, CJI participates in the Diversity on the Bench initiative that helps ensure that the courts reflect the diversity of the communities they serve. In 2021, the Colorado Judicial Department welcomed 35 new judges to the Colorado State Court bench, 51% of whom were women. Of the 35 new judges, 5 were African American, 4 were Hispanic, and 2 were multiracial. A few thanks. We could not be where we are today without an outstanding staff. Over the last year, we were without an executive director for about half the year, but we didn't miss a beat. And we didn't miss a beat because we are blessed to have 2 folks in our organization who have been here for over 10 years and kept the ship running. And I'd like to reach out to and thank our Director of Marketing and Administration, Cynthia Opeg-Johansson, who I think is in the back, but I can't see because of the lights. And our Executive Director, Laura Rothenberg, and I'm not sure where she is, but again, has done a great job. And we're also very fortunate to have filled the gap in terms of an executive director with the hiring of Jeff Rupp, who started in April, hit the ground running, and has not slowed down since. And you'll have a chance to hear from Jeff in a minute or two. I'd also like to recognize quickly our board of directors, which does a fantastic job of promoting our mission, participating in our meetings, and helping to sponsor tonight's event. So if our board members could just stand up, I'm not going to mention them all, but just stand up so people can see you and clap for you, that would be great. I'd like to relatively briefly mention what our accomplishments have been, both over the last year and with our dinners over the last 20 years. So in the last year, to give you a sense of what we've been up to and how we've been promoting our mission, we hired a new executive director, which I've mentioned. We appointed 12 new board members, most of whom just stood up. We participated in legislative committee hearings. We submitted some op-ed pieces, one of which, as I said, was published yesterday. And I do want to do a shout out to Marilyn Chappelle and Russ Carparelli, whose names did not appear on the bylines, but who were the principal authors of those efforts. We hosted 2 programs called Straight Talk with Judges, and one of the remarkable things about this state, in my opinion, is that the second event was put on by all 7 current justices of the Supreme Court, who shared with about 80, 100 folks their thoughts on various topics. We hosted a membership breakfast featuring Joshua Wilson, who's the chair of the Political Science Department at DU. We had a booth at the City Park Jazz Festival. We hosted a fascinating and moving presentation by Judge Akbari, who is a former member of the Afghani Supreme Court and left Afghanistan just before the Taliban took over. And we've participated, as I mentioned, in the Diversity and the Bench Coalition. Now I'd like to reflect very briefly on the last 20 years and give you some statistics. The first Judicial Excellence for Colorado dinner was held 3 years after we had our first honoree, and that honoree was Judge Jeffrey Bayless. Over the last 20 years, a few fun facts and numbers. There have been 60 Judicial Excellence Award honorees, 9 of whom are here today, and I'd like them to just stand so they can be recognized, and I'm just going to read their names. Judge Emily Anderson, Judge Angela Arkin, Chief Judge Paul Dunkelman, Judge Bonnie McLean, Magistrate Carolyn McLean, Judge Gail Miller, Chief Judge Mick O'Hara, Judge Timothy Schutz, Judge Ken Stewart. We could just rise and... Now, over these past 20 years, there have been over 10,000 attendees at our dinner. The Judicial Education Fund has funded over 250 judicial scholarships, and there have been 6 sponsors who have sponsored this dinner for all 20 years. And again, I'd like to mention them and express my appreciation. They are the Arapahoe County Bar Association, Colorado and Denver Bar Association and Colorado Bar Association CLE, Davis Graham and Stubbs, the Employers Council, Griffiths Law PC, and Wheeler, Trigg, and O'Donnell. Speaking of sponsors, I'd like to recognize and thank the approximately 60 sponsors who have sponsored tonight's events, 10 of whom are wine sponsors, which we all took advantage of during the cocktail hour. I'd also like to specifically thank our Patrons Circle sponsors this year, Davis Graham and Stubbs and Polstonelli. Speaking of sponsorships, I suspect you're going to hear more on that subject from our Executive Director, Jeff Rupp, who I will introduce at this time, and he's going to try and rectify the problem that we have at CJI, which has a reputation as being the best charitable organization that nobody's ever heard about. So with that, enjoy your dinner, enjoy Jeff's comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. As Don mentioned, my name is Jeff Rupp. I'm the executive director, the new executive director, relatively new since April, of CJI. For those of you who I've already met, hello again. For those of you I haven't met, I look forward to the opportunity to meeting you soon in due time. I'm competing against dinner, so I'm going to try to be brief, but I do have a few comments I want to make. Thank you all for being here tonight in support of CJI, in support of judicial excellence in Colorado, and in celebration of tonight's 4 honorees. I'd like to take a few moments for some important thank yous and also an appeal to you tonight. It is, after all, a fundraising dinner. And I'll start with the appeal. Don, in his welcome remarks a few moments ago, mentioned CJI's many opportunities, accomplishments. He also mentioned some of the challenges and the threats that we face and that the Colorado judiciary faces. In moving forward to embrace the opportunities and to counter those threats, we need you. We can't do our work without you. So I invite all of you, I appeal to all of you, everyone in this room, to get involved with and to support CJI in a bigger way. It starts with your generous donation. Not surprisingly, again, it's a fundraising dinner. And through that donation, you become part of CJI's membership community. I know that already many of you are members of CJI and donors to CJI, and for that I thank you. But we need all of you. We need everyone's generous donation to support our work, our impact going forward. In your program, you will find a fundraising envelope that is specialized to tonight's dinner. And we hope that you will consider a donation tonight, as generous as your means might allow. Remember, CJI is a 501c3 charity, so your donation is 100% tax deductible. If there are any tax lawyers in the room tonight, I'm sure they can help. Did someone else pay for your seat tonight? If so, please consider giving generously, if only to honor that person and their support of CJI. Please take a moment, everyone, and look around the ballroom. We have nearly 500 people in here, which is amazing. Nearly 500 friends, colleagues, fellow supporters of CJI, of supporters of judicial excellence in Colorado. Imagine if everybody here tonight, all 500 of us, gave on average $100. We'd love more than that, of course, but if on average gave $100, that's $50,000 that we could raise on CJI's behalf to help support judicial excellence in Colorado. So again, I appeal to you to consider this. One other thing, I've been to a few galas lately, other organizations. We're not going to do a paddle race tonight. You're probably relieved to hear that. We're not going to put you on the spot individually. But we do need your generous support because, again, we can't do it without you. So while you give that consideration, and as our hotel staff starts to deliver dinner, I wanted to move on and really quickly thank our generous supporters. Don mentioned a couple of them. I'm going to mention some of the rest. As he said, we're very fortunate to have 58 different corporate sponsors tonight, 10 of which contributed toward the wine, plus a handful of individual donors. Thank you all. I'm going to name a few. We have 5 platinum dinner sponsors. And I know the slide's going to go up in a moment, but they are Davis Graham and Stubbs, Dietrich Partners, Fenimore Craig, Polsinelli, and Wheeler Trigg O'Donnell. Thank you to them. We have 7 gold level sponsors, dinner sponsors: the American Arbitration Association, Dish Network, Dowd Bennett, Garfield and Hecht, Moy White, Sherman and Howard, and the Thomason Law Group. Thank you to them, the gold sponsors. We also have 3 premier wine sponsors that I'm going to give a shout out to: Childs McCune, Chancho Brown, and the Judicial Arbiter Group. Thanks for the wine. Plus 43 other sponsors at the silver, bronze, and small solo firm level, 7 more supporting wine sponsors, and 6 individual donors. You'll pardon me if I don't name them all. We'll be here all night, which is great. What a great problem. Not a problem, obviously, to have. Thank you all. Thank you, sponsors, for your generous support. I'd also like to recognize again the 6 companies that have been 20-year sponsors, because this is pretty amazing. These 6 companies, law firms, have sponsored this dinner for the last 20 years straight. The Arapahoe County Bar Association, Colorado and Denver Bar Associations, and Colorado Bar Association CLE, Davis Graham and Stubbs, Employers Council, Griffiths Law, and Wheeler Trigg O'Donnell. Let's give a really big round of applause. 20 years of support. That's amazing. Once again, thank you all. And in closing, a few more quick thank yous, and then I swear I'll stop. Thank you to my staff team, Sin and Laura. They are simply outstanding. Thank you. Thank you to all of the volunteers that we have tonight from DU's Law School. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the CJI Awards Dinner Committee, and you'll hear from Shannon Stevenson, the chair of that committee, a little bit later tonight. Thank you to the hotel staff who are taking care of us tonight. And lastly, thank you to our young musicians, Charlotte and Ravi, and I'm looking for Charlotte right now. If she's in the room, go ahead and take the stage, Charlotte. You may have seen and heard them out there in the foyer playing some beautiful music for us during the cocktail reception. They're both 11th graders at the Denver School of the Arts. Both plan to continue playing music after high school. And Charlotte actually aspires to be a professional cellist. So, and she's going to entertain us while we eat dinner. And I'm, again, oh, there she is. Welcome, Charlotte. And with that, I will stop talking. Let's take a break. Enjoy your dinner and conversation while Charlotte plays for us. Thank you. Can I do anything to help you?
So good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. It's great to see everybody. It's great after COVID to all get together and enjoy each other's company. So we're going to turn toward the awards portion of the ceremony. In recognition and support of excellence in Colorado courts, the Colorado Judicial Institute annually acknowledges the contributions and services of 3 outstanding judges, one each for the district courts, the county courts, and magistrates. However, this year, based upon the outstanding nominations we received, we are pleased to honor not 1, but 2 magistrates, both from the 21st Judicial District. So my name is Mark Fogg of the law firm of Childs McCune. I served as a CJI board member for many years and currently serve as an emeritus director. Ordinarily, the chair of CJI's awards committee, Senior Judge Bob Hawthorne of the Colorado Court of Appeals, he has the honor every year to introduce and present the Judicial Excellence Awards to the honorees. Unfortunately, Judge Hawthorne called me at 1 o'clock yesterday and said, I've developed flu symptoms over the weekend, and I think it's best that I not attend tomorrow night. So we will miss him greatly, and I know how much he enjoys doing this. So each year, CJI receives confidential nominations for the Judicial Excellence Awards from the public, from fellow judges and justices and magistrates, court staff, and attorneys. After we receive those nominations, the awards committee reviews the nominations. They may obtain additional information through further vetting of the nominees, and then select the recipients. I do again want to give very special thanks to the CJI staff member, Cynthia Opaug Johansson. And Cynthia, I practiced that name all day today. She acts as the main liaison to the awards committee and basically organizes the entire nominations process. There are very specific, demanding criteria by which the nominees are measured, which are set forth on the CJI website. They include, quote, efficiently, expeditiously, and objectively managing cases and dockets while remaining in firm control of activities in the courtroom. Displaying a high level of open communication and a demeanor and attitude that makes the courts accessible for all. Being an innovator who is creative in dealing with courtroom processes. So when we review the nominations, we use those criteria along with some time periods that somebody has been on the bench. The awards are then presented at the annual celebration like tonight. And by the way, this is the 20th annual awards ceremony. And it is super wonderful to have so many past honorees with us to celebrate tonight. Each year, over 500 judicial, legal, business, and legislative leaders join CJI in recognizing the award honorees. We thank you for your continued support of our judiciary and CJI. Also note, for those who could not attend in person, we are video recording the ceremonies, and that video will be available on the CJI website. It's important to remember that through these annual Judicial Excellence Awards, we are also celebrating each and every judicial officer in Colorado for each of their invaluable contribution to Colorado's excellent judicial system. I know Chief Judge Mick O'Hara is here tonight, and he was a 2016 honoree. He's from the 14th Judicial District, which is Routt, Moffat, and Grant counties. He said, "The Colorado Judicial Institute's Judicial Excellence Awards don't just recognize the excellence of one judge or even one courtroom. These awards are a recognition of the excellence that exists across our state's entire judiciary." So we ask that you please help us fulfill our mission. And our mission is to promote excellence, equity, impartiality, and public trust in the Colorado courts through outreach, education, and engagement. Please, please consider honoring the entire judiciary by making a nomination for next year's awards. The nominations will be opened on the CJI website around March 1st of 2023. We cannot stress enough how important it is to have a robust nomination process. The nominations are the vehicle by which deserving members of the judiciary are honored by CJI. So, turning to this year's awards, we will present this year's Judicial Excellence Award by beginning with the Magistrate Awards. Our first CJI 2022 Magistrate Judicial Excellence Award recipient is Magistrate Kevin Kennedy from the 21st Judicial District, which includes Mesa County. Magistrate Kennedy graduated from the University of California, Santa Barbara in 1978 with a BA in sociology, and then graduated from Santa Clara University School of Law in 1987. He was admitted to the California State Bar in 1987 and then the Colorado State Bar in 1990. He was appointed as a magistrate in 2009. So now let's watch together a nice video that's put together so that we can learn more about Magistrate Kennedy. Then afterwards, we will ask him to come up and share some remarks with us. Take it away.
Magistrate Kevin Kennedy was raised by relatives on the East Coast until, at age 4, he was adopted by a family in California. He grew up in Glendale with his mother, a nurse, a father, a lawyer. The nuns who taught his elementary school reported he was a good pupil when he applied himself, but he remembers being an unenthusiastic student. He ended up at a nearby boarding school because it had a scuba diving club. Kennedy was excited about it, and it structured a 2-hour study hall every night his parents were excited about. Kennedy graduated with a group of friends he is still close to today and a direction for his college studies. Kennedy would be a marine biologist. He entered the University of California, San Diego as a biology major, but struggled with physics. Kennedy left biology and transferred to the University of California, Santa Barbara, where he graduated with a degree in sociology and no idea what he wanted to do with it. Kennedy tried a few different jobs, including teaching at his old high school, and was working as an accounting clerk when a coworker smugly told Kennedy she made 3 times what he did just because she was a fast typist. In that moment, he realized he could continue balancing checkbooks for 3 years with nothing to show, or he could attend 3 years of law school and take control of his life. He attended Santa Clara University School of Law and met his wife, Elizabeth Clark, who was pursuing her master's degree in psychology. They moved to San Francisco, and Kennedy started doing insurance defense work. Visiting family in Colorado became living in Colorado when the couple made the jump to Grand Junction. Kennedy opened a practice doing a mix of cases including domestic law. He and his wife adopted their daughter Kate in 2001. After a decade as a sole practitioner, Kennedy was ready for a change and began talking to his family about becoming a judicial officer. He was sworn in 2009 and has presided over domestic cases, dependency and neglect, delinquency, truancy, traffic, child support, and protection orders. His docket is currently limited to domestic and child support cases.
Well, I had the opportunity both as a volunteer and a coordinator to come and sit in Magistrate Kennedy's courtroom. I found that he was always very welcoming. He just has that mannerism that welcomes people and makes them more at ease in what could be a very uncomfortable place. I know Magistrate Kennedy has sat in all of these chairs, both as an attorney, as a GAL, with the county, and he understood probably better than anyone else that I've become acquainted with what was happening in these cases that involved trauma and children who had experienced various traumas, many times multiple traumas, and even when some of those children wanted to come to court, he made them feel like they were welcome and that it was important that they say something and say what they felt. Magistrate Kennedy was able to have a better idea and understand more clearly what it was that was in the best interest of those children. And that was, I think, he always seemed to have that as his central purpose in all of the proceedings. It was what was in the best interest of the child.
Well, I'd say I do have a natural empathy for kids and parents in tough situations. It's an insight into compassion. I see the struggles they overcome, and I see the things that they don't overcome. And I look back on my own life, and I know what it was like growing up in my household and the struggles that my parents had. And so then I'm so grateful to them because they gave me the gift of an adoption.
Magistrate Kennedy wants every child to have that stability in their life. For the compassion he shows to the youngest Coloradans, Magistrate Kennedy is a 2022 Judicial Excellence honoree.
So please, let's welcome and honor Magistrate Kennedy.
It is pretty big. It is pretty
I can
big.
either put it under here.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, don't forget it.
I won't. I hope not. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, you can be seated. We're in court. You can be seated. All right. First off, let me say what an honor it is to share this moment with such excellent judges. Magistrate McNulty, Judge Archuleta, Judge Amico. I thank the Institute for this award, but I didn't get here on my own. To my parents, Dick and Lorraine Kennedy, they made this outcome possible. I dedicate this to them. To my wife, Elizabeth, there simply aren't enough words to express my gratitude, and there's simply not enough time to express all those words. But please know, I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and I dedicate this to you as well. I also, to my daughter, Kathy, from the first time that I gazed into your eyes, you have been my inspiration. Thank you. To my mother-in-law, Barbara Ann Clark, thank you, darling. To my judicial mentors in the 21st, Judge Buss, Judge Bailey, Judge Bacher, Judge Amsiro, Judge Deister, Magistrate Westbrook, Magistrate Cyphers. I was in and out of their courtrooms for years, and I watched how they handled these insanely overcrowded dockets and how through it all, I also watched how they managed to treat everyone appearing in front of them with dignity and respect. I'm out of order here. Oh, yes. Stephanie Rubenstein, she's a former magistrate in the 21st Judicial District. She mentored me when I first came on the bench. It was her support and her baking that got me through my first butterfly years. I also want to thank, well, most of you have probably never been to Grand Junction. You've never been to the 21st Judicial District. But I work on the 3rd floor of the Judicial District, and I want to tell you, while it may not be Disneyland, that place is magic. To a person, we enjoy each other. We like coming to work every day, and we have a shared vision of the work. And it starts with, let's get it right the first time, and it goes to, let's do it better the next time. And if anything comes up and there's a problem in life, The only question is this: how can I help out? And the credit for all of that goes squarely to District Court Judge Valerie Robison. Valerie sets the tone. She anchors the third floor. She is the most busy person on the third floor. But if she's in her office, and if you knock on her door, she will look up from whatever it is that she is working on. She will look at you. She will give you her complete and total attention, and she will do it with grace and generosity. I thank her. Finally, I can tell you what judicial excellence is all about in 2 words: excellent clerks. It's the truth. And anybody who's ever worn the robe knows the truth of it. Now, here's the deal. In my years, I've worked with some splendid clerks, but there are some standouts. First off, Cindy Romero and Alex Stump, now Alex Baker. For 7 years, we were better than excellent. We were team awesome. And I dedicate this to them. I also dedicate it to my current clerks, the Cool Crew, Christina Mestis and Christy Showalter. The support and the loyalty that they show me every single day makes showing up to work all worth it. And then finally here, I just want to say thank you to everybody who showed up here tonight. Thank you for honoring the other honorees here tonight. Thank you for supporting this event. And thank you for supporting the Institute. Thank you very much.
That was terrific. Thank you, Magistrate Kennedy. Our next CJI 2022 Magistrate Judicial Excellence Award recipient is Magistrate William McNulty, a colleague of Magistrate Kennedy from the same 21st Judicial District. We got such good feedback on both of these candidates that we thought it just makes sense. Magistrate McNulty graduated from the University of Notre Dame in 1990 with a BA in government. He attended the Marshall Wythe School of Law at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and graduated in 1994. He served as a deputy state public defender for 13 years before being appointed as a magistrate in 2009. We're going to have a video that we'll share, which will further describe Magistrate McNulty's accomplishments, after which we will ask him to come forward and share his remarks.
Magistrate William McNulty spent his early childhood in Pennsylvania and Connecticut, raised by his businessman father and his homemaker mother in a house where education was always a priority. He and his siblings explored their neighborhood and played, in his words, as many sports as possible. When McNulty was 13 years old, his father transferred to Dusseldorf, West Germany. McNulty and his siblings attended an international school, taking classes with students from over 20 nations. He encountered his first political refugees in the form of fellow students and their families who had fled Iran's Islamic Revolution. He became aware of the privilege of being an American citizen and developed an interest in other government systems and how others saw the United States. After moving back to the U.S., McNulty later attended Notre Dame. He studied international affairs and Japanese in the interest of working overseas. As graduation grew near, McNulty realized his international classes mostly prepared him for a career in business, which was not what he wanted to pursue. He was accepted to law school, but didn't honestly know what he would do with a law degree. McNulty's mother first suggested that he consider public service. He joined Holy Cross Associates, a one-year lay mission that sent graduates around the country to work in low-income communities. He went with 5 other graduates to Oakland, California, where he taught life skills to developmentally disabled adults at a day program. The program changed his perspective and priorities. One evening, McNulty saw a legal aid office serving the country's poorest residents. This, he realized, could be his focus for law school. When he wasn't focused on the lovely Janet Breckenridge, also a law student at William & Mary, and his future wife. Over the summer breaks from law school, he took internships with a legal aid service, a public defender's office, and in prisoner litigation, and he found he enjoyed being in the courtroom. After graduation, he was drawn to Colorado because of its indigent criminal defense system. Virginia, where he had been interning, just had a list of possible attorneys who might take a pro bono case. However, Colorado had a statewide system. They had training and they were organized. This, McNulty realized, was the system he wanted to work in. Initially, he and his wife were in the metro area, but he was a contract attorney without benefits and a small child. When a public defender position in Grand Junction opened, the young family moved there just about sight unseen. McNulty loved the public defender's office, and as the years passed, the family loved the community. For much of his legal career, McNulty was assigned to Judge David Bodger's courtroom. McNulty saw the judge's positive impact on everyone who appeared in his courtroom, even if clients were disappointed with the outcome of their case. Bodger convinced McNulty to apply for a magistrate position, and McNulty was sworn in on January 5th, 2009.
In this time where a lot of people distrust our institutions and our legal system, I'd like to think that we can restore faith in our system one case at a time. I see a lot of people who do not have attorneys coming to court. It starts with me helping people be heard and to have a fair opportunity to say what I need to hear. And if I can help them not be in a flight or fight mode, then it usually is a better day in court.
For keeping the focus of his courtroom on the needs of the individuals who appear before him, Magistrate William McNulty is a 2022 Judicial Excellence honoree.
Please let's welcome and honor Magistrate McNulty.
Well, you're getting a double dose of Grand Junction tonight, but we're pretty proud of the 21st Judicial District, and I feel very lucky to have worked there so long. But it's pretty overwhelming to be here. I was here in 2011, I think somewhere over here, watching a colleague of mine get honored that Kevin has already mentioned, Stephanie Rubenstein, who was a giant to me. She was a fantastic mentor. But how lucky could I get to have not only her as a mentor, but my predecessor, Jane Westbrook, had also won in 2008. So for someone who had never handled a family law case, I was very, very fortunate. But as Kevin said, I couldn't be more fortunate to have the people who truly helped me, my team, in Division 7. And just to give you a flavor of the 21st Judicial District and the message that I got before I even was hired, when I was applying there, magistrates are picked by the chief judge of the district, but the initial nominating committee was made up of different, not only magistrates and other judicial officers, but there was a court judicial assistant on the committee. That sent a powerful message that they matter, their opinion matters, and that I should respect them. But it was easy to respect them because of how talented and devoted they were. People like Dee Green, Sheena Sanchez, Christina Mestis, Eric Dowdy, and Emily Henderson. But I was especially fortunate to have Tina Stockey be my assistant for over 10 years. She's here today. I'm so grateful for everything she's done. She's now our family court facilitator. I'm so proud of her. She kept me grounded. She guided me when I did not know anything about a DNN case to learn about what it's like before they come to court. But her friendship and partnership made it work. I could not have done it without her. The 21st Judicial District is a special place because we believe in collaboration, not only within various elements of the justice system, but in our community. If I can play a small part in that, whether it's just convening that, I know that the collective wisdom of those in our community will have better ideas than I can come up with some of our most pressing problems. I am grateful for the work of CJI. As I said, I've known your work for a while, and we appreciate what you do for us that we cannot, because we know that's important. We know what could happen because it happens in other places when politics enters the courtroom. We don't want it to. We know the people who appear before us also have opinions, and it may be tempting for them to bring those as some kind of leverage or some kind of what they think is assistance in the courtroom. We are grateful that we can focus on our litigants as people, not problems, not as some terrible post that they shared on social media, not as someone on their worst day, as any reflection of who they have the potential to be. And it helps us remain hopeful, which is critical for us to maintain civility by setting a model and a tone in the courtroom. If we can turn down that temperature, it can help them move forward when it's time, when they're ready. I especially would not be here today without my family. November 1st is a hard day for our family. 22 years ago, my mother died when she was 56, very sudden. But I'm grateful to have this opportunity to bring our family together for something else, because I know my mother would be proud of me, that I fulfill her dreams, her ancestors' dreams, to be here today. I'm grateful for the challenges that she put me through to use my advantages to help others. I'm grateful for my father, who had planned to be here, but he unfortunately had a medical procedure and he was unable to attend. He is a man full of curiosity and wonder, and it helps me remain curious about people for themselves, not for their feelings or their emotions that they're displaying in court. I'm grateful for my siblings. My brother Keith is here today. He has been my constant companion through a very interesting journey of moving around the United States and the world. And I'm so happy that we still get to continue that journey together. My sisters, Sarah and Kathleen, who could not be here, I'm grateful for them as well. My Aunt Kathy is someone very special to me. She's here tonight. She is one of the most powerful people that I know. She carries a quiet grace that will change lives. She changed mine. When I was ready to lose hope myself, she gave that to me. I'm especially grateful for my wife Janet, my children Mickey and Lucy. You have helped me grow so much as a person, as a parent, as a partner. I would not be where I am or who I am today without your love, your forgiveness of me, and you inspire me to be better every day. You are a gift without end, more than any award. Thank you.
Make sure I give the right award out. All right, so we're now going to next recognize and congratulate our 2022 CJI County Court Judicial Excellence Award honoree, Judge David Archuleta from the 20th Judicial District, Boulder County. Judge Archuleta is a Colorado native, raised in Boulder. He earned both his undergraduate and law degrees from the University of Colorado. Before his judicial appointment to the Boulder County Court bench in 1999, he served as a deputy district attorney for the 20th Judicial District, as well as being an attorney in private practice. He is a past president of the Colorado County Judges Association. So again, let's all watch together and learn more about Judge Archuleta's accomplishments. And then we'll ask him to come forward.
Judge David Archuleta was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado, with his 3 siblings. He attended Boulder High School and was involved in student government and theater, even serving as the school's head boy, an experience he described as being the CEO of a large, unwieldy company of 2,000 teenagers. He left Colorado briefly for the University of Rochester, but ultimately followed in his parents' footsteps to the University of Colorado, where he graduated with degrees in philosophy and political science. Archuleta started at CU Law School more because he wasn't set on a career path rather than knowing the law was for him. He thought a law degree would give him lots of options. He quickly realized how smart, perceptive, and competitive his classmates were. Archuleta was intimidated and hooked. Early in law school, Archuleta interned in Boulder's district attorney's office. He liked the sense of justice. His work was self-directed, and he had lots of discretion. His bosses just wanted him to do the right thing. After graduating from law school, he worked briefly in civil law, but he didn't love it. As soon as he could, he returned to the district attorney's office. He was a prosecutor for the Boulder DA for nearly 10 years. When a position on the Boulder County Court opened, Archuleta didn't think he had much of a chance, but the governor liked his work as a prosecutor. In 1999, Archuleta joined the Boulder County bench. Joining the bench made him rethink how he looked at the law and his community. In his first couple of years, Archuleta realized he had case management skills, but truly did not understand his new role as a judge.
So just like a lot of people, when I took the bench, I had a certain set of expectations of how I should behave, and I came from kind of an adversarial system, of course, being a prosecutor, but then I found out that it didn't work that well on the bench, and I had to learn a whole new set of skills, to collaborate with people, and it kind of dawned on me when I started seeing things from a little different perspective that that really was a valuable part of being a judge too, is that you had to look at, people and see what their experience was, and how to sort of reach them where you could reach them. And I thought that as much as the outcome mattered to these people in their cases, that equally important, and sometimes even more important, was that they just felt like they'd been heard and they got a chance to express their voice in court.
Judge Archuleta is the senior county court judge in the 20th Judicial District. He is known across Boulder County for his compassion for the homeless, the mentally ill, and those trapped in addiction, ensuring that their interaction with Colorado's justice system is fair and keeps them moving toward a healthier life.
He's a judge that people want to work for and truly enjoy working with. His efforts to create a collaborative, effective court cannot be understated, and they've resulted in the work of the Boulder County Court being done efficiently with an emphasis on serving our community.
He's been called the Zen Master of Boulder County Court. Here in Boulder County, we have a presiding judge. Typically, they rotate every year, but what I can tell you about Judge Archuleta is he will always be ultimately the presiding judge of county court. He brings with him so much experience and willingness to help out his colleagues, to help out the staff, and to make sure everyone is comfortable with what they're doing. He has been such a mentor for our new county court judges who we got, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago. And they truly have appreciated what he has done to bring them up to speed so that they're effective county court judges.
For his longtime leadership in Boulder County courts, Judge David Archuleta is our 2022 County Court Judicial Excellence Award honoree.
Let's welcome and honor Judge Archuleta.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you to the Institute. I kind of expected Judge Hawthorne to be here. And no, you're doing great. But I met Judge Hawthorne when we were doing training together. And when I got this award, he called me from a scuba diving trip in his 70s in somewhere in Honduras. Thank you. So thank you so much. Thank you to the Colorado Judicial Institute for this award. I'm truly humbled. I want to say that I so admire the mission of this institute. And if we could focus on anything, I think that's what we should focus on. To foster the public trust in the judiciary and to help judges become better educated and to be better judges. I can think of no worthier mission. We're really lucky to live in a state that would have an organization such as this. And we're lucky to live in a state that uses the merit selection process and has nonpartisan retention elections. When I compare notes with other judges from other states at national trainings, I can't believe my good fortune to live and work in this state. I have talked to some judges that for the most part live sort of a nonpartisan life, but occasionally if a disgruntled person is frustrated by the outcome of their case, they will actually sponsor someone to run against that judge. And that judge, typically the one that I was talking to, he has to put away about a third of his annual salary in a war chest to be able to fend off such attacks. So, you know, growing up in this system, both as a citizen, as a judge, I can't imagine having to deal with those pressures. I get to decide to do what I think is right based on the law and the facts of the case. I want to say thank you to my colleagues in the 20th Judicial District in the different places, our Chief Judge Ingrid Bakke, our County Executive Amy Waddle, and our Clerk of Court Marzala Cano. This powerful team of leaders has kept our district functioning at a very high level for many years, and that stability has really served us well. I want to thank also the County Court team in Boulder. I can honestly say that there's never been a time in my 23 years when I have had such a cohesive, hardworking, and effective group as at the present time. I have learned so much from each of you. I would honestly say that every single one of the county judges currently is so far superior in their education, their demeanor, their exercise of compassion that I'm humbled to work with them. You are a big reason that it's fun for me to continue to come to work and to do the work we do. I want to thank all of the wonderful clerks I've had over the years, and I've been a judge for quite a long time, so I've had a lot. But I want to mention their names because we work hand in hand with these folks, and I've learned so much from each of them. I want to thank you, Robin Archuleta, Lisa Garcia, Michelle Ramos, Madi Cano, Amy Cox, Aubrey Hogue, Deb Meshke, Amanda Genevieve, and Brianna Waterman, who's here with me today, my current CJI. Thank you so much to them. And to all of the clerks. This award is as much theirs as mine. Thank you also to my family who's here, to my former wife, Kathleen, and her partner, Kurt, who have remained close to me and have supported me always. To my kids, Anna and Joe, and his girlfriend, Izzy Martinez, who continue to educate me on a daily basis. Thank you also to Amy Engel, who's become my special friend and has supported my decision to keep working a few more years and to be the best person that I can be. This award is deeply appreciated. One of the direct benefits is that it encourages me to keep striving, but it encourages all of the other judges to keep striving. The judges in our district, the judges in our state, you encourage us to continue to improve, to employ new strategies, and to continually reassess what we're trying to accomplish. You make us want to be better at what we do, and I appreciate that. One of the most important things that I discovered after a few years on the bench is that it is not about the nuts and bolts of the job that make such an impact. It is not about evidentiary rulings or interpretation of statutes. These things are important, of course, but the real focus should be on making sure that you never forget about the people that we serve. If you can make them feel that they're dealing with a person and not an institution, That may be the single most important thing that you can do, particularly at my level in county court. If they can see the person behind the robe, their interaction with the court system and the impact will be that much greater. Let them see the personality. Let them see your humanity. In doing this, you'll often calm some fears, instill some confidence, and then make their experience so much more meaningful. Thank you so much for this award.
Great remarks by everybody. So it is also my honor and privilege to introduce to you the 2022 CJI District Judge Judicial Excellence Award honoree. She is Chief Judge Michelle Amico from the 18th Judicial District, the largest Colorado judicial district comprised of Arapahoe, Douglas, Elbert, and Lincoln counties. I saw that in 1964. It was just Arapahoe and Douglas, and then a week later they added the other two counties, so that must have been a little tough. Chief Judge Amico earned her BA from the University of Arizona in 1989 and her law degree from the University of Denver Sturm College of Law in 1993. Prior to her judicial appointment, she served as a deputy district attorney and then a chief deputy district attorney in Denver. She was appointed to the 18th Judicial District Bench in 2012 and ascended to chief judge in 2018. Again, let's all together watch the video and learn more about Chief Judge Amico.
Chief Judge Michelle Amico was born into a large, loud Italian family in Detroit, and even at a young age, she always tried to take charge. She and her younger sister grew up in Broomfield, Colorado, missing her grandmother's homemade bread, pasta, and sausage from their childhood Italian neighborhood. Amico has fond memories of her close-knit Broomfield community, but left to attend college in sunny Arizona. She majored in criminal justice at the University of Arizona with an interest in the law and perhaps following family members who had served in the Detroit Police Department and Secret Service. Her first real exposure to the law was at her work-study job in the Student Legal Services office campus. The office was staffed by a single attorney who needed Amico's hands-on help with students' legal problems, from the minor to the very serious. Her supervisor inspired Amico to volunteer as a court-appointed special advocate for children and intern with the Pima County Public Defender's Office. By the time Amico graduated, she had a passion for the courtroom and helping the vulnerable and disadvantaged. Amico headed home to attend law school at the University of Denver. Having loved her time in court, Amico worked with the Student Law Office at DU as a student lawyer representing low-income citizens with civil controversies and misdemeanor criminal matters. She thought courtroom defense work would be where her career led. However, she went to court with a homeless client who had mental health issues. Her client had gotten himself back on his feet after significant effort. Amico was hoping to get a warrant on a minor assault charge quashed. To her dismay, neither the prosecutor nor the judge would give her 5 minutes to tell her client's story. Instead, her client was handcuffed to be taken to jail. Amico felt she had failed the fragile person who was trying to change. Despite knowing there was no crying in court, she welled up. The judge saw her tears and told her to toughen up, and the prosecutor chuckled. The judge brought her client back to the podium, and the case was dismissed. Amico was embarrassed and disheartened, but what happened that day inspired her to be a part of changing someone's experience in the courtroom for the better. And she set her sights on working on the side of the fence where she could listen to each person's story and make a bigger difference. In 1994, she was hired by the Denver District Attorney's Office. She served as Deputy District Attorney and then Chief Deputy District Attorney.
I believed justice was not about wins and losses, rather making individual decisions on each and every case I handled. Everyone told me it was the prosecutor that wears the white hat in the courtroom, but I believe that not only the prosecutor, but also the defense attorney and the judge should all proudly proclaim to wear the white hat in the courtroom in their respective roles.
The best judges she appeared in front of dispensed justice equally and independently and inspired her to consider taking the bench. After 18 and a half years, Amico was appointed to the district court bench in the 18th Judicial District in 2012. The governor said he was intrigued by her nomination because he had never seen so many letters of support for a prosecutor from defense bar members. He wanted to meet the attorney who was supported by both sides of the courtroom. In 2018, she was appointed chief judge just in time to face the challenges of serving the 1.3 million citizens of the state's largest judicial district during an unprecedented global health pandemic.
What I can say about Judge Amico is that we've been blessed to have her leadership. She has truly been outstanding and steadfast in her leadership of our district. She has, throughout her career, epitomized what judicial leadership is, and we've simply benefited from the stewardship that she has provided. She maintains outstanding communication with the bar, with the various stakeholders, and during the course of our pandemic that everyone's experienced, she has simply led us through times that we couldn't have survived without her, without the benefit of her leadership.
You know, what I learned from the COVID-19 pandemic about our system of justice is just how absolutely resilient the system is. We served people at a time when the state was completely shut down, and we did it well. And that speaks volumes about the level of dedication of the 4,000 members of this amazing judicial branch. I am so blessed to get to work with people every single day who value service, appreciation, and kindness, are collectively passionate about helping people in need and want to make a difference, who know teamwork is the way to overcome obstacles and strive to instill public trust and confidence in the judiciary. One day at a time. I'm lucky to be counted as a member of the great 18th Judicial District, and the truth is, any success that I've had in my role as the Chief Judge is directly attributable to my amazing work family.
For recognizing all the wide hats in our Colorado court system, Chief Judge Michelle Amico is our 2022 District Court Judicial Excellence Award honoree.
Please, let's welcome and honor Chief Judge Amico.
I'll stick this under here. Okay.
Wow, this is really overwhelming. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to those involved in nominating me for this really esteemed award. Whether I received the award or not, the fact that you took the time and, more importantly, believed that I was qualified for this Judicial Excellence Award is truly humbling to me. My sincere thanks as well to the Colorado Judicial Institute. You know, I took some time to take a look at the names of the prior CJI honorees over the past 20 years, including Kevin and William and David tonight. So many of these honorees I practiced in front of, they mentored me, I get the pleasure of calling my colleagues, and now my name is included on that distinguished list. And I think it was not until being here tonight, seeing all of you, so many people watching the tributes, did I fully appreciate the magnitude of this award. This is the type of award you might expect one to receive when they're either retiring or they're dead. And at least as of tonight, I am neither. I am so proud to be a member of the judiciary in the state of Colorado. The 4,000 people that comprise the branch, not just the 400 judicial officers, are the most hard-working, dedicated public servants you will ever meet. But I am prouder to be a member of the great 18th Judicial District. We are the largest judicial district in the state of Colorado, and across 4 counties and 5 different courthouses, we serve over 1.3 million people. We work hard every day to achieve our core values of service, appreciation, kindness, integrity, and trust. Between the trial courts and probation, we are nearly 500 strong, and irrespective of our positions in the district, we are all connected by our collective passion for helping people. Helping people in need is our why. It's why we come to work every single day. I appreciate that this award is in recognition of my leadership of the 18th Judicial District. The truth is, my work family makes me look like a great leader. They inspire me to be the best version of myself every day. And what I hope the 18th knows by now is that it is nothing but my honor and my true privilege to serve as your chief judge. This award belongs to all of us. My role is just to shine the light on our path and do my level best to lead by example. I wish that I could thank everyone in the 18th, but I have a time limit, and those who know me know I'm not good with time limits at all. So I'll thank my great court judicial assistant who's been with me for the 10 years that I've served on the bench, Amanda, and the leadership team whose shoulders I just get to stand on, many of whom are here tonight, the presiding judges in the 18th in my tenure as the chief judge, Ben Lutweiler and Bonnie McLean, Liz Voles, Jay Williford, Chantel Contaguglia, Susanna Meisner-Cutler, Larry Bowling, and Colony Fields. Thank you all for all you have done to support me, our Chief Probation Officer, Doug Gray, our Deputy Chief Probation Officers, Shelley Sack and Anthony Getzberg, and the executive leadership team, our 4 amazing clerks of court, Shayna Clock, Andy Truitt, Kim Graham, and Gina, and the incomparable Deputy Court Executive and Court Executive, Jenny Turnage and Sean Clark. And finally, my partner in crime, very first person I met, the first day I was appointed and came to the Arapahoe County Justice Center, the presiding judge of the Douglas Combined Courts, the great Tracy Slate. I accomplished nothing at all without all of them. One thing I will point out, the executive leadership team of the trial courts, there are 8 of us, they're all women. Strong, bold, unique, amazing women who bring their authentic selves to the table every single day to ensure we provide equal access to justice. Judges work hard, and the chief judges work harder than anybody ever knows. I really want to thank my fellow chief judges across the state who comprise and make up the Chief Judges Council. It was really in leaning on all of them that I was able to do what I did for our district during the midst of COVID-19. But our families know how hard the chief judges work, because leading well and by example comes at a price, and it requires sacrifice. My husband, Randy, is here tonight. I want to thank him for his love and for his support and for always understanding why I can't just sit on the couch on Sunday and watch the Bronco game. I have to go down to Chambers at the courthouse. What I do hope I'm passing along by leading by example and the hard work that I do to my beautiful daughter, Gigi, who's here in the audience tonight, and my stepson, Dylan, and my nieces, Maddie, and Lily, and Marin, is what was passed down to me. That is what I will share with you. My mom and dad really get all the credit for teaching me how to lead by example and really how to live your life. My dad died on Father's Day in 1994 at the young age of 48 after about a 9-month battle with pancreatic cancer. In a moment when the morphine and pain seemed to not impact his mental faculties, he said to me, "Treat people well. What matters is how many people show up at your funeral." My dad's funeral was standing room only. Ever since, I've tried my best to remember that message in both my personal and professional life. But it was not only my dad's courage and words that guided me moving forward, it was how my mom chose to overcome the devastation of losing a husband at such a young age that set an example of the importance of optimism and hope and determination, even in the face of adversity. She taught me the value of hard work and not to seek happiness, but rather to choose it every day. As many have mentioned, the judiciary at present is facing great adversity. It's so much harder today than ever before to be a judge. My greatest thanks to CJI is not for honoring me with this prestigious award, but for what you do for this great judicial branch every single day to support your mission, because what you stand for is what we stand for. Ensuring excellence, equity, impartiality, and public trust in our courts. Now is the time for us to restore the faith in and the public trust in our branch. I suggest to everyone here who works in our great system of justice that we do that one day at a time, you do that one client at a time, we do that one litigant at a time, by keeping our focus on humanity. It's what we need most in the world today than anything else. Treat each other well, and treat those that we serve well. Make a difference in somebody's life to the point where they'll want to take the time to nominate you for such a prestigious award as this one, or they might even come to your funeral. Those of you that know me well know I love great quotes. According to the great Muhammad Ali, service to others is the rent we pay for our time here on earth. Thank you so much, CJI. Thank you to all of you.
You can get $50 for it, so it's terrific, inspiring remarks.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our CJI Judicial Excellence Awards presentations. I'd ask you to please offer another strong round of applause for all four of our honorees. So as they say, my work here is done. And I'm now going to turn the program back over to Jeff Rupp. I do want to make a comment. I've been around CJI for 20 years, and I think I saw Jeff speak at Polsinelli. I was truly impressed with Jeff's energy, his skill set, and his ability to speak tonight. So, for he and the CJI staff, another big round of applause. You're welcome.
Hello again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your dinner. Congratulations once again to tonight's four honorees, Magistrate Kennedy, Magistrate McNulty, Judge Archuleta, and Judge Amico. I hope you all found their stories, as inspiring as I did. Sorry. Let's give them one more round of applause. They deserve it. Now, you know why I'm here, right? I wouldn't be doing my job right if I didn't come up here and do this again. So before we close out the evening, I'd like, again, to appeal to your generosity and urge you to make a generous donation in support of CJI. We need your support, as I said before, financial and otherwise, because we do welcome your volunteer service as well. We need your help to help us move forward with strategic goals and activities that include more outreach that helps raise our profile and positions us more broadly as a go-to community resource and thought leader about Colorado's courts and how they actually work versus what we see in the newspapers, lately at least. Expansion of our CJI community across all of Colorado and not just Denver Metro. Expansion of our education and learning opportunities. for more funding for the continuing education of our judges, to more and more public education through our courts, to other educational activities we've only just begun to imagine. Increased support for diversity on the bench so that our courtrooms more and more reflect the communities that they serve. Promotion of diversity, equity, inclusion, and access across the board. And importantly, again, given the tenor of the times that we live in today, establishing a much more robust communications and public relations strategy, one that proactively shares all of the good stories that come out of our judicial system, because we know they're there, and that help engender more understanding and public trust while helping counter the threats. And those threats, we know they exist. We know they're real. Whether they're born out of simple ignorance, disappointment from a courtroom decision, or coming from people who just seem to have an axe to grind, they exist. They are real. And we need to address them in a proactive manner. We need your help to be able to do that. So, it's a very ambitious agenda. We can't do it without you. And so again, I urge you, I ask you. You don't get what you don't ask for. I'm asking you to help support us. Remember, I said we're not going to do a paddle race tonight. I didn't lie about that, but I am going to put you on the spot just a little. On screen, we're going to show a QR code that points to a donation page. And I would ask everyone to pull out your smartphone and point it at that QR code, and it'll take you to a PayPal page where you can make a donation. So, I don't see any phones. Where's your phone? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm kidding about that part, but I do. I really urge you, please, when you go home tonight, give it some thought. Thank you, John. When maybe later this week, this weekend, Colorado Gives Day is coming up, Giving Tuesday is coming up even sooner than that. We need your help, your financial help, your volunteer help if you're willing to do that. So again, I ask you, I urge you. The fundraising envelopes, if you prefer to write a check, we'll take those too. And if you do want to give that to us tonight, feel free to find me. I'll be out front at the end of the night, and just hand it to me or mail it to us. The mail-in address is on there. And imagine, again, I mentioned this earlier, but imagine that if everybody in this room, there's nearly 500 people, at least were in the room, 500 people, if all of you 500 people gave just $100 on average, that's $50,000 in support of what we're trying to do on behalf of Colorado's courts, on behalf of promoting excellence, equity, impartiality, and public trust in Colorado's courts. We can't do it without you. Thank you. We appreciate your consideration. Shannon, I'm giving you the cue. So I'm going to introduce, enough of me. It's time to move on, close out the night. Shannon Stevenson, CJI board member. She's the chair of the awards dinner committee. She's going to close us out tonight. So take it away, Shannon.
Thank you, Jeff, for doing the undesirable and very important task of making these asks for financial support from all of you. I've had the privilege of giving these closeout thank you remarks for a couple of years in a row. And normally I say, you know, it's great, thank you so much for being at this dinner and supporting this dinner. And it's a great dinner, and it is especially great to see our exceptional judicial officers that we honor here. But this year I want to couch my thank yous just a little bit differently, and I want to say thank you to the folks I'm going to thank here, all of you, for playing a critical role in defending democracy. When I first joined this board 5 or 6 years ago, I don't know because I've lost all track of time, I never dreamed that we would be in a place where we were questioning almost daily whether our democracy was going to survive. And we have seen in the last few years, time and time again, these instances where our courts have served as the last line of defense on our democracy. Maybe the only place where truth and facts actually matter. But we only have that line of defense as long as our courts continue to have the respect of our society as long as our judges can be chosen in a fair process, and as long as we have people like the exceptional people that we honored here tonight who are willing to serve in these critically important roles. And the point of this dinner is to raise funds and to raise awareness that will allow us to have this system of ours to continue here in Colorado and hopefully to continue to serve as an example for judicial systems across the United States and even the world. So the people I'm thanking here tonight, I'm not just thanking you for putting on a great dinner, and it was great, and for celebrating these judicial awardees, which are great. I'm thanking you for your critical role in defending democracy. So I'm going to do my thank yous. We can hold our applause. We'll do it at the end. We've been clapping a lot. You've heard their names a million times. Laura and Sin, they literally execute this dinner, this almost, not single-handedly, double-handedly. The two of them, they are truly amazing. The committee members for this dinner, Mark Cloart, Peter Koklanis, Thor Nelson, Gabby Robbie, and Tom Werge, thank you so much for all of your efforts that you put into this. And I hope we can put our sponsors' names up on the screen. I'm not going to read them all again. What I'm going to say is every person here, if you contributed to the sponsorship of a table here, thank you. If you came here, if you bought your own ticket, wonderful, thank you. If you purchased some of the wine for this event, thank you. It's great. If you are here, just your presence here, hearing this message, wonderful, thank you. For every one of our judicial officers in this room, oh my goodness, thank you so much for the work that you do, as we heard described so wonderfully by all of our honorees tonight. Every one of you is contributing, again, to democracy, and it's really, really important. So thank you so much for being here, for all of your contributions. Enjoy your evening. Please drive safely.
I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
let me say one thing before you say that final good night
Yep.
that you do so well. I'm sorry, people, I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you parked the self-parking in the hotel, we have 25% off voucher coupons, and it's a follow ticket, I think Chase ticket, whatever they call it, where you put in your parking ticket, and then you put in the Chase ticket after that, and you get 25% off your parking. It's only for the self-parking in this hotel. I just wanted to mention that. I was supposed to mention it earlier, and I forgot.
All right. All right. Yeah. So again, have a wonderful evening. Please drive safely. Please vote because democracy. And please join us at a CJI event in the near future. Thank you all so much for being here.